College freshman Trinity Poague is accused of murdering an 18-month-old infant boy in her dorm room. The little boy's name, J.D., and he was not her child, but was the son of her boyfriend, Jay Williams, who was out picking up a pizza when prosecutors say Trinity committed the crime. Tonight, we take a look at some of the most important evidence in the case, text messages from the defendant, and testimony of Trinity's boyfriend, the victim's dad. Meanwhile, Briana Aguilera was a college student at Texas A&M who visited Austin for the big game against the Texas Longhorns. When her mom couldn't get a hold of her, she contacted Austin police. Then after some investigating, police told her Briana was dead and had taken her own life by jumping out of an apartment and falling 17 stories. But her mother didn't believe that story and questioned the investigation. And now tonight, we hear from the Austin police who say they have the evidence. But first, Day 3, the biggest day yet in the trial of Brian Walsh. Prosecutors allege he murdered his wife, Ana Walshe, who he suspected of having an affair. Tonight, we hear the testimony of Ana's lover. Was he the motive? What does he know about what was going on in Ana's marriage? Tonight, all the big moments from this dramatic day in court. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. The trial of Brian Walsh, a big dramatic day today. And we know, looking at the story, at the marriage, at the controversy between Ana and Brian, Brian suspected his wife was having an affair. You know, it's not uncommon, right? It happens in marriages. People are unfaithful for whatever reason and whatever's happening there. But he knew something was wrong. He knew that the marriage was falling apart and suspected an affair. And he was right. Ana was having an affair. She was having a relationship with someone else. He was right. They're having the affair, Ana and her lover. Now, here's the situation, though. Ana and Brian Walsh live up in Massachusetts, but she has this new job down in D.C., and with the new job, she also has a new love interest. Now, what's going on up in Massachusetts, and what's the situation? The marriage was falling apart, and there was probably a good reason for it. I mean, part of it was Brian Walsh himself. Who is he? He's an unemployed felon. He's a guy who's he's not earning, he's not working. He got indicted for his fake Warhol business and was getting ready to figure out how much time in federal prison he was going to do. Almost as if he was like a lame duck husband. But, you know, it's supposed to be for better, for worse, whatever. But there were other issues, obviously. And both sides, I think, if you spoke to them before Ana was killed, would agree this marriage is crumbling. But nothing had officially been broken up in the marriage. Like, it wasn't official that we're separated, I'm leaving you. That was about to happen, or perhaps happened just before Ana went missing. We don't know. He knows, Brian Walsh knows. So the question is now, when you talk about this affair and this infidelity, and she's got a new lover down in D.C., does that add up to motive in this case? Is that a reason for Brian Walsh to murder Ana? Jealousy, spiteful. You get the insurance policy instead of splitting everything in half and have to. I don't even know. He wouldn't even have anything to split in half. He'd be chasing her money because she was the one with the good job. She was the one supporting the family. So maybe it's a combination of the two, but it's a big moment in this case because it really takes you inside the relationship. Anytime you have a case that is about a husband killing a wife or a wife killing a husband, you've got to understand, and I think the jury has to understand, some of the dynamics. And obviously the lover is a big part of it, and he took the stand today in court. Let's take a look.
familiar with Ana Walsh and Brian Walsh?
Yes.
And how did you meet the Walshes?
Ana Walsh was referred to me by a mutual friend, Jem Woodlow. They were looking for a home in the D.C. area, and I assisted them in purchasing a townhome in Chevy Chase, D.C.
And did you know Ana or Brian Walsh before that?
I did not.
And who bought the home?
Ana Walsh.
And did you meet Ana in person?
Yes.
Had you ever met Brian Walsh in person?
No, I have not.
So after you sold the townhome to Ana Walsh, did you have further contact with her?
I did.
And what was your initial relationship?
We quickly became close friends, then confidants, and before long we started an intimate relationship.
So how often would you see Ana Walsh in the course of your relationship?
Typically 2 to 3 times a week.
And how often would you and Ana communicate once your relationship became intimate?
Pretty much daily.
And did you and Ana have plans for Christmas Eve?
Yes.
And what did you do for Christmas Eve?
We drove out to Annapolis to have dinner with friends of mine.
Do you know where Ana went on Christmas Day?
She eventually ended up driving back to Massachusetts.
Did you and Ana discuss how Brian Walsh reacted to Ana not being in Cohasset on Christmas Eve and getting there later on Christmas Day?
She told me that they had an argument about it, and there were some points of contention.
Did you and Ana discuss any stressors about that, or any stressors in her marriage to Brian?
The biggest stressor was his inability to resolve his criminal case, and the fact that because of that, she couldn't be with her children and bring them back to Washington, D.C., and the fact that it felt like it was holding up her life.
Did you have plans to celebrate New Year's with Ana?
I did.
And when did you make those plans?
When I was in Idaho and she was in Cohasset.
And what were your plans for? When were your plans for?
Our plans were to have dinner on January 4th to celebrate New Year's and discuss our 1, 3, 5, and 10-year plans.
And what had you and Ana discussed about your future together?
We'd had a number of conversations about what a life together might look like, but I had always said to Ana that she needed to figure out how she wanted things to be with Brian and what she wanted to look like for her life before, we could make any sort of commitments or decisions.
And did you have dinner reservations for January 4th?
I did.
Did you have dinner on January 4th?
I did not.
Have you seen Ana Walsh since December 25th of 2022?
I have not.
Look at that. I mean, you're really getting some insight into the relationship through this witness. Important stuff for the jury to understand. The whole problem was this dude's going to federal prison, and her whole world is upside down, and she no longer wants to be with a felon. Let's bring in Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson. Join us live from Dedham, Massachusetts, with more on what happened today. Matt, great to see you. What a dramatic day. Wow. That was huge. Who else did the jury hear from today?
Yeah, big day, Vinny. And a dramatic day, like you were saying, here in Dedham, Massachusetts, day 4 of the murder trial against Brianna Walsh. And we were hearing from a lot of key witnesses, not just the paramour, not just the lover, who said that, he was in love with Ana and he was afraid that Brian Walsh was going to find out. But we also heard from other key witnesses, including people that knew the couple before her disappearance, and some fitness instructors that interacted with her just hours before she went missing and said, in their opinion, that she was in perfect health. Take a listen to this.
Our members asked about their health.
Yes.
In December of 2022, how often would Ana Walsh attend bar method?
3 or 4 times at least. And she was doing the push-ups on the balls of her feet, on her hands. She was completing the motions.
You're not a doctor.
No,
You're not a nurse.
I am not.
Did you perform any type of medical tests on Ana Walsh on December 31st?
No, I did not.
Ana's health, of course, important to the prosecution case, as the defense alleges that she had an unknown health condition and died suddenly. That's how Brian Walsh discovered her in their bed of their home. We also heard from someone else that knew the couple, and this was the children's teacher at their daycare, their school. And someone, one of the people that took the stand today, they were talking about how Brian Walsh dropped off the children after his wife disappeared, and he was acting extra strange. Take a listen.
So in January of 2023, how many days did you see Mr. Walsh drop off the children?
2 days.
Which days?
I want to say it was the 3rd and 4th.
January 3rd, that'd be a Tuesday, and January 4th, a Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay. And what was his demeanor when he dropped the children off on those days?
He came in with the boys and went through the other door, the other key code door, and they did not come in the office. I do remember saying hello to him, and I believe my assistant director was also in the office. We both said, "Hi, Brian, good morning." You know, like I said, that was part of our routine to greet the families.
And what was his demeanor?
It was, in a rush. It's kind of like, come on, boys, let's go. I remember, when they went through, and that was it. He dropped the children off of class. So it was, definitely a little different than the usual conversations we would have in the morning.
Okay, now during that testimony, I'm looking over at the jury in that jury box, and those jurors, Vinnie, they were taking a lot of notes, but also looking over at the defense table, where Brian Walsh just has a dead pan on his face for much of the testimony today.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever good when they start eyeballing the defendant inside the courtroom. By the way, have you ever taken a bar class? Those things are impossible. I took a few bar classes once. Impossible. You've got to be in tremendous physical shape to take care of that. All right. Any other evidence presented today?
Yeah, there's a lot of other physical evidence and really circumstantial evidence that were really important for this jury. Again, they were taking a lot of notes, and I want to go through it with you. There was investigators that were talking about Walsh's cell phone, the pinging of his cell phone at particular locations, matching some of those dumpster locations where trash pulls were done, where some of that key evidence that we heard about yesterday, including some of that bloody evidence that appeared to be bloody, and also some of those tools. Well, then we also saw some of these surveillance videos that matched the pinging of the cell phone that showed a car matching his, where prosecutors say that they saw some of that evidence that he was throwing away, that they allege. The day ended with a digital expert who analyzed the cell phones, Brian Walsh and Ana Walsh, and they claimed that Brian Walsh, after she disappeared, was impersonating her at some point and sending messages or calling his phone. A lot of strange stuff. This particular witness, this expert, the data expert, is still on his direct examination. Tomorrow, that cross will be very interesting, Vinnie.
Absolutely. And still, like, he's leaning on cause of death. That's what the case is about, how she died. He's admitting getting rid of her body.
Right.
But he's saying it's all because he panicked. Like, ironically, Matt, if she died of some natural cause, the way you would figure it out would be with an autopsy, but somebody destroyed the evidence and got rid of the body, so that evidence won't be in front of the jury. That was Mr. Walsh that did it.
You're right.
Thank you, Matt. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, legal analyst Carmen Rowe, along with attorney Ali Benevento, and criminal defense attorney and lawyer Lori on TikTok. Lori Murray is with us. Okay, Carmen, the lover, took this jury inside this marriage. She wasn't happy. I've got to, you know, if she's telling the lover she's not happy, I think that is somehow manifesting itself back at home. Brian Walsh is suspicious of all of it. The thing was falling apart. His life is falling apart. He's going to federal prison. His wife's moving to D.C. She makes all the money. He's going to lose it all. The guy just snapped.
No question, Vinnie. And look, the motive is as old as time. I mean, this is the motive that most of these cases we watch are about. A lover, deception, betrayal, lies. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting watching this lover testify how open and conspicuous and consistent they were seeing each other. Restaurants, bars, on his boat, staying the night at his house, making plans. But then what's also interesting is you listen to him, and they weren't getting together on New Year's Eve or on New Year's Day. They were getting together on the 4th, and there was a fight about it. Why? Because she's lying to her husband, and he knows it. And we know that because he called this guy. I mean, I just think the deception and the lies is just, it's a lightning bolt situation for anyone, and I think it was for this defendant.
Yeah, Allie, to me, it paints the picture of why. Like, the jury can understand why he would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even without all of that, Vinnie, look at all of the other evidence. Yes, it's circumstantial, but these jurors are going to be incredibly smart. It doesn't take a lot to put this together. Even if you take the paramour completely out of the picture, this guy's Google searches, his shopping history, all of it piling up. There's really just, and I hate to say it as a criminal defense attorney myself, but there is really one reasonable inference to be drawn from this mountain of circumstantial evidence, and it's that the husband killed her.
Yeah. Well, again, he went into court, Lori, and said, yeah, I get rid of her body. But I just found her. She was dead. She was dead. Meanwhile, she's taking a bar class, you know, like an hour before, or, you know, a couple days before, whatever it is. Like, there's no indication that there's anything wrong with her. He's trying to use the old Chad Daybell, Tammy Daybell, oh, she just died and rolled out of the bed. Like, come on. We're not buying it. I don't think the jury's buying it. And any chance that he had to prove that she died of natural causes was destroyed by him. He's the one who admittedly destroyed that evidence.
Well, you know, I agree. But this just goes, I think we have to take a moment and appreciate the brilliance of his defense attorneys, because sometimes we get cases where there just appears to be literally no defense to. This appeared to be one of those. And he has come in and made some lemonade out of his lemons. He's found a defense. I mean, you've got a mountain of evidence against this guy. The Google searches alone are basically how not to get away with murder. And then you've got 10 bags of bloody items, blood in the car, you know, everything leading to this guy's guilt. But none of it, with this defense, the way he's put it out there, none of it matters. It only matters as to what or how she died. Everything else he's explained by pleading guilty to the conveyance of the body. Anything else, like all of the things they're talking about, he can stand up and close the argument and say, look, it doesn't really matter. None of that matters. It's a red herring. Don't look at that. Look at how she died. I don't think he's going to win that, obviously, but the attorney, good Lord, that man found something to actually argue in front of a jury in a case like this. Yeah, and you need that. But Carmen, as a prosecutor, I would eat that up and say, oh man, if only there was a way to prove how she died. How do we do that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Oh, autopsies. But we can't do that in this case. Why wasn't there an autopsy? Oh, that's right, because the defendant over there got rid of the evidence. He got rid of the body. Like, what better way to prove your innocence than to have a doctor come in and say she died from an aneurysm? But it's never going to happen.
I totally agree, Vinnie. I think it's interesting. We had a case here in Galveston, Texas, just south of Houston, where a person admitted, you know, the Durst case, where he admitted to ultimately chopping up the body, but he was found not guilty of the murder. It's so interesting that they come in on the front end and say, yeah, okay, we chopped up the body, and we're going to make this a really narrow issue for the jury and an easier issue for the state. But why? Why would you plead guilty ahead of time? Muddy it up in the middle of trial, see what happens. And I agree with Lori. I think it is a great defensive issue when there is no defensive issue. But I think they made it way too easy for the state in this case.
All right, think tank staying with us. When we come back, new details in the death of Briana Aguilera, the Texas A&M student, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, a family's hike in Utah's mountains, 3 small children, a sudden snowstorm, and a father who refused to turn back. When rescuers finally arrived, shock and sorrow replaced hope, and now one man faces the harshest accusations a parent can hear. How did a simple outing become a child torture investigation, and will justice follow? Tonight, we investigate.
The disappearance of mother Ana Walsh.
Her husband now charged with her murder.
All eyes on this accused killer.
Mr. Walsh was suspecting his wife of having an affair.
It's a massive trail of evidence.
This incredible timeline of Google searches.
It shows everything that was in his mind.
He searched how long before a body starts to smell.
The disappearance of Ana Walsh murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
It is not common for a police department to speak publicly about a death by suicide. But inaccurate information has circulated and been reported. And that has led to additional harm of innocent people, bullying included, and their families. There have also been statements suggesting the police have failed to do our jobs. Those statements are not accurate.
Austin PD speaking out today about the case of Briana Aguilera. This is a young woman from Texas A&M who went to Austin for the big game, and then that night fell 17 stories to her death. Initially, she was told it was a suicide. Briana's mother, Stephanie, she didn't agree. She believed she had evidence that there was something else going on in that apartment, evidence of an alleged fight that her daughter had with someone from that apartment. She wanted more of an investigation. She wasn't satisfied. Everybody was wondering, how did they come to this conclusion so quickly? Here's the Austin PD speaking today.
On Saturday, November 29th at approximately 12:46 a.m., the Austin police officers responded to a call of a deceased person located at 2101 Rio Grande Street. The decedent, later identified as Briana Aguilera, was located on the ground with trauma consistent to having fallen from a higher floor. Briana was pronounced deceased at 12:56 a.m. I, along with crime scene specialists, responded to process the scene and interview witnesses. A witness informed officers that they had heard a sound of a thud and then observed a female on the ground. Initially, it was unknown who the decedent was and on what floor she had fallen. The medical examiner arrived on scene, and the body was taken to the medical examiner's office, where she was later positively identified. In the meantime, I was able to contact one of the employees at the 21 Rio apartments at approximately 6 a.m. that same morning. The staff at 21 Rio were cooperative throughout this entire investigation. By approximately 10 a.m., we were able to access the camera's system inside the apartment complex, which shows us the hallway areas. It was found that Briana had arrived at the apartment complex just after 11 p.m. on Friday, November 28th, and that she went into a specific apartment on the 17th floor. Video surveillance has confirmed that a large group of friends left that same apartment at 12:30 a.m. on November 29th, leaving just Briana and 3 other girls in the apartment. Now on Saturday, November 29th, at approximately 12:54 p.m., I, along with patrol officers, made contact with the residents of that specific apartment that Briana had been observed going into. The residents informed me that they were trying to report that their friend Briana was missing. I was able later to confirm they had in fact placed a 911 call at 12:14 p.m. earlier that afternoon to report their friend Briana was missing. They informed me that they were hosting friends for the Texas A&M football game and that Briana was supposed to be staying there that preceding evening. I spoke with 3 different female witnesses on scene, as well as later a 4th witness who had left earlier that morning. The investigation showed that Briana had been at a tailgate party earlier in the day and became intoxicated to a point that she was asked to leave the same tailgate. She had told her friends that she had lost her phone at some point near that tailgate. They had all returned to the apartment where Brianna borrowed a phone of a friend to call an out-of-town boyfriend. Witnesses heard Brianna arguing on the phone with her boyfriend, which was also confirmed later by the boyfriend. Phones from both the phone Brianna used and the boyfriend's phone have confirmed through call logs that call did occur. Now, this call occurred at approximately 12:43 to 12:44 a.m., approximately 1 minute. This is 2 minutes before the 911 call of the body found down below on the pavement. On Saturday, November 29th, it was found that Brianna's mother, Stephanie Rodriguez, had called the Austin Police Department at 12:50 p.m. This was in an attempt to locate Brianna. Rodriguez called back an hour later at 2 p.m. stating the location of her daughter's missing phone. The phone was located by Austin police officers in a wooded area by 3:30 p.m. that afternoon near Walnut Creek in a field by the Austin Rugby Club. Through this investigation, it was found that Brianna had attended the tailgate on Friday, November 28th at the Austin Rugby Club, arriving between 4 and 5 p.m. and then leaving at approximately 10 p.m. Witnesses stated that after Brianna was asked to leave the tailgate, she had repeatedly dropped her phone and staggered into a nearby wooded area where her phone and other items were later located by Austin police. Just after 4 p.m. on Saturday, November 29th, officers from the scene paged homicide to inform them that they had located the property belonging to Brianna and determined that there was also a separate deceased person call with the same name. Rodriguez was notified of Brianna's death just before 5 p.m. Brianna's phone was placed with the rest of her property still on the 17th floor of the apartment for her family to later receive. On Monday, December 1st, the mother and father of Brianna met with victim services and those of us in the homicide office at police headquarters. There, Rodriguez turned over Brianna's phone and gave it back to us. A further review of Brianna's phone shows a deleted digital suicide note dated Tuesday, November 25th of this year, which was written to specific people in her life. From the moment this call originated up until now, between all of the witness statements, all of the video evidence, and all of the digital evidence collected, at no time did any evidence point to this being anything of a criminal nature. Rather, our investigation has revealed that unfortunately Brianna had made suicidal comments previously to friends back in October of this year. This continued through the evening of her death, with some self-harming actions earlier in the evening and a text message to another friend indicating the thought of suicide.
What happened in those last moments? Let's bring back in our think tank. Still with us, Carmen Rowe, Ali Benevento, Lori Murray. Tomorrow, we understand that the mom will speak, and we'll get what her take is at this point in light of all this evidence. But Ali, obviously extremely tragic. The only pieces I'm trying to put together here are right at the end. If she's using someone else's phone and a minute later she's falling and it's not till 12:14 the next day that everyone else is looking for her, like I don't understand the other young women who were in the apartment. What did they think happened? Like that part, yeah. I don't understand. That's the missing link here in what they've just told us.
Absolutely, but I would imagine that law enforcement interviewed those 3 girls in that apartment.
Yeah,
now,
the next day.
They weren't also heavily intoxicated.
Yeah.
Right. So depending on what they said, perhaps they were heavily intoxicated. Perhaps some of them had gone to bed. I don't know that they've not spoken with the boyfriend that she spoke to on the phone, but I agree, lots of missing pieces. But it's also strange to me that when the parents returned the phone to police, that suicide note was deleted. And so, it would be very interesting to hear when that suicide note was deleted, because if that was deleted while Brianna did not have her phone, I find that very interesting, because if they're trying to say that there's some criminal actions here and this was not a suicide, I'm very curious to know who deleted that note.
Yeah. Lori, what questions do you have here in this case? Is it just a tragedy and, the family has to come to grips with what happened to their daughter?
Yeah. When I look at it, I do think it's a tragedy. You've got these 4 other girls that are in that apartment. I understand that there's a lot of questions that need to be asked there, but this is somebody going over a balcony 17 floors up. That's not easy to do. And I know she's a slight girl, but it's still not easy to get someone up and over a balcony. So I don't feel like they did that. I think the suicide note being on there, the fight with the boyfriend, and I think she had also expressed suicidal tendencies with one of her friends before this. So I see this just as a terribly sad mental health crisis.
Yeah. Carmen, what they also seem to indicate that there was actually discussions that day, whether it's a discussion or whether it's a text message about what she was going through. What's troubling to me is that, and this is, and not blaming anyone for this, obviously, but I mean, it's a moment to reach out to your friend. That's a moment to make sure everything's all right. And I just don't think young people are necessarily in that mode. We as parents are, right? We hear that word and like, boom, you know, the flags go up. We make sure everything's okay. When young people speak to each other about that, maybe they're just a little too casual about getting and receiving that type of information.
Yeah, Vinnie, and nobody knows what happened, but here's what we do know. We know that these kids have been tailgating all day. Tailgates start really early in the morning, so likely everyone there was intoxicated, heavily intoxicated for hours and hours. But it is interesting that you have 3 young ladies inside this apartment with this girl who somehow finds her way onto the ground. I mean, tomorrow when they do this press conference, everybody wants answers to questions. She talked to her boyfriend and they were fighting for a minute. I mean, that does not you're going to jump down 17 stories, does that make? There's so many questions, not enough answers. Even with a suicide note that was deleted off of the phone, I still don't think it answers the questions of what was happening inside that apartment. And I think it could be as simple as an accident where she falls off of the edge of the balcony because these people are there intoxicated in an apartment. I don't know, but I do think we need more answers. I think this family deserves them.
Yeah, and again, she's on the balcony. They can hear the argument with the boyfriend. 1 minute later, she's gone, and no one's doing any. There's nothing about. They don't notice or hear, I guess, emergency vehicles showing up outside. I understand it's a big building and it's a city, all of that, but still, no one notices any of this stuff until the next day, which to me is kind of strange. I want to just put this on the screen, the statement from Tony Busby, who Carmen, out there in Texas, who's representing the family. Briana Aguilera had her whole life in front of her. The circumstances surrounding her death are very suspicious. The Austin Police Department's handling this matter creates more questions than it provides answers. As far as we are concerned, this is an open investigation and will continue to be open until these parents are satisfied they know what happened to their daughter. The Busby Law Firm and the Gamez Law Firm will hold a press conference tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Time at the Busby Firm in Houston. Brianna's parents will be present and may make statements. So we'll find out if there is more that needs to be answered here that they don't necessarily have the answers to yet. All right. Think Tank staying with us. When we come back, the beauty queen on trial. Big, big day today. The jury got some evidence that may be difficult for the defense to overcome. We'll talk about it when we return.
The primary sources of friction in this relationship, and what you hear is this, that Trinity Poague resented this child. She was sort of placed in a stepmother role that wasn't the role she wanted to be in, that she wanted to have a family, she wanted to have children, she wanted to have a child or children with Jay Williams. But not that child. She wanted her own child with Jay Williams.
Trinity Poague on trial in South Georgia, accused of murdering her boyfriend's baby, JD. That's JD, obviously in the middle. Her boyfriend, Jay, on the left. And that's Trinity, former beauty queen, on the right, on trial. To me, this is difficult. You look at that baby, how cute that baby is. How could anyone harm that child? To me, you need to demonstrate that the person is capable of having that mindset. I want you to take a listen to the testimony of Trinity's former roommate. To me, this puts us exactly in that in that realm of someone who could be capable of harming a beautiful, innocent child.
It says, why do I feel anger towards JD? Like earlier when we were in bed and JD kept touching Jay's face, I almost cried.
Your response to that, which came again just a few seconds later, and this is at the bottom of page 113.
Okay.
Your response to that was what?
What do you mean, like you feel anger towards JD, question mark?
And then her reply to you a minute later, what was what?
Like, I don't know, not jealousy, but like I want to love him, but instead of loving, I just feel like angry, like want to punch him. LMFAO, OMG, that sounds so bad.
What was the message that she forwarded to you that she had sent to Jay earlier in that week or that day?
Read it aloud.
Please.
I've told you from the beginning that I would always try to love JD is the same as mine, but since me and you have gotten serious, every time I see him, I just get angry at the world, and I just have a gut feeling of anger. I don't know what it is. Maybe because I'm so young, and I know if I am committed to you, then I am committed to him. You're 24 and I'm 18, and I know that the age difference isn't much, but you have a kid and you have more responsibilities than just spoiling me. I don't want to be your second baby mama. I wanted to be your first, but that won't ever happen, and I don't think that I can continue to be in a relationship with you and have that in the back of my mind.
What did she express to you as to how she felt about the child, and the child as it related to her relationship with Mr. Williams?
I would say around the same things of she didn't know if she could love him like her own kid, that she would get angry at him when he was there.
Did she ever express her anger to you? Did she ever express her anger in a way related to how she felt about the child?
She would say such things as, I would want to run him over with my car.
She told you that she wished she could just run him over with her car?
She did.
You know what I think, folks. I'll let the think tank, Carmen Rowe, Ali Benevento, Lori Murray, I'll let you guys take over here. Lori, why don't you start us off, and what does this prove to you? It proves what I needed proved in this case. What does it prove to you?
Proves a little bit of premeditation almost. That, how you said, I don't know how she could harm a baby. How could anyone harm a baby? They're innocents, and maybe it's a mental health issue, but why, when you understand that you're having these feelings, do you not pull yourself out of that situation? Why continue to be in that situation? Why not get some help? I don't understand any of that thought process, but I do believe that you can deduct premeditation out of her own words. And it's just, she might be a beauty queen, but she's definitely ugly on the inside.
She's also 18 years old, which is an interesting, I don't think I realized that or at the time. So there's a huge age gap here. Clearly, she's immature. She's jealous of a child. Let that sink in for just a second. This is her boyfriend's child. She's jealous of the baby, and she's admitting that to her friends and saying these terrible things. So she is immature. She is not responding rationally. She is not reacting to the existence of a child in a way that a normal person would. Those are horrible things to say. But I agree with you, Vinnie. I agree with you, Lori. It really does suggest that this is something that she had previously thought about, and not just thought it. She said it. She put it in writing. She texted it to her roommate. That's going to be really tough to overcome.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can't imagine saying out loud, putting in a text message, even thinking about punching a baby in the face. And I think it really speaks to who she is that she would write that and then say she was laughing about it. I don't know how this jury would wrap their head around a person who could say that and then not get to the place where you can understand that she caused the death of this baby. I mean, it's just unbelievable that anyone would say that. The fact that it's in writing and that she thinks it's funny and sent it to a friend is just unbelievable.
You think she has any idea
These cases are
how bad this is? Like she's sitting in the courtroom there. Tomorrow, closing arguments. We're sitting here tomorrow night. I believe there's going to be a verdict, and I think I know which way he's going. You think she has any idea that this is it? Like, it is over for her?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm looking
they
at
say
her
she's
sitting there with a Coca-Cola bottle, too, and, you know, she's got a tissue there that I'm looking at the side screen, but she's sitting there with her Coca-Cola. She's leaning over to the computer. She's not really paying attention. And, you know, maybe to Allie's point, she's very young, and maybe that just is a complete immaturity level, but she's in for a rude awakening with some new clothes coming up soon.
Yeah. Juries don't like these cases. They're so tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Carmen Rowe, Ali Benevento, Lori Murray, always great to have you with us. It's such a sad story, such a sad case. But tomorrow, closing arguments will happen, verdict watch, and tomorrow night, my guess is this pink tie may very well be red. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, they vanished into the Utah wilderness, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and an 8-year-old, with their father leading them into a blinding winter storm. Found near death after a desperate night on a rock, their fate now rests in the hands of prosecutors. Did a loving dad recklessly gamble with his children's lives? Or is there a far darker truth beneath the snow? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
The disappearance of Ana Walshe.
Her husband now charged with her murder.
All eyes on this accused killer.
The disappearance of Ana Walshe murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
All right, folks, time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. What's happening in the world of crime and justice? We've got a trashed panda. But wait, it looks like a raccoon. Well, many folks call raccoons trash pandas. This raccoon was trashed, drunk, after breaking into a liquor store. There he is, busting in. Surveillance video captures him. Tough to identify him with that mask on, though. Falls down. He's been drinking a few. If you take a look at what's happening in the aisle, a whole bunch of broken bottles, and he stopped and he took a little sippy-doo. Let's take a listen to Officer Samantha Martin from Animal Control, who's on top of the case.
That's when he took out the cameras, the security cameras. So we don't have a whole lot of footage of him running around the back room there, but he managed to knock down all the bottles, drink some of the beverages, and then stumble into the bathroom where he ultimately locked himself in there and passed out next to the toilet.
Passed out drunk. Oh, I'm back. The raccoon passed out drunk on the floor in the bathroom after a night of drinking. Does it sound familiar to any of you? Anyhow, take a look at your screens, folks. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. This is Haley Faith Cheney. Haley is missing from Centralia, Missouri since November 25th, just 18 years old. If you see Haley, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Centralia Police Department in Missouri. That phone number's on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Haley to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.